Report set to be released tomorrow. The Hill's John Solomon out with a brand new article. Look at it there. 10 post-Mueller questions. And what's important about this could turn the tables on the Russia collusion investigators. John, I want to ask you about that. And I also want to ask you about what Obama's White House involvement in this probe is. We saw Page and Strzok point directly to Lynch's office, and I want to know what she knew when she knew it, and I want to know what Obama knew, and Rice knew, and Clapper knew, and Brennan knew.
I think it's such an important question, and it's gotten lost for much of the last 2 years as we've debated all of the narrative that turned out not to be true. But one text message has always stood out in my mind, Sean. It's in my column again today. I mentioned it, and that is a text message from Pete Strzok to Lisa Page after they come out of one of the first foundational meetings in August after they've launched the Trump investigation. And the text says, "The White House is running this." The White House is running this. I covered law enforcement for 30 years. The White House doesn't normally run counterintelligence or Justice Department investigations. That text has remained in my head for a long time. And over the last few weeks, I've been reporting. I think Victoria, in the last segment, had something really important. She said, January 2017, there was at least one White House meeting. I think next week we'll be talking about a meeting 1 year earlier where the origins of the Trump collusion case begin. A whole year earlier, and I guarantee you it will have been inside the White House.
You're saying it started in 2015?
No, 2016. See, 2016. She was talking about, she was talking January 17. January 2016, the beginning of Donald Trump's rise.
Well, we know the FBI began in July 31st, 2016.
I'm going to say 6 months before the effort to get Trump was launched. And I think next week we'll be talking about some pretty interesting evidence. But I think it's so important for us now to step back from all this and remember this had to start somewhere, and a lot of resources had to be put into it. Who did it? What did they do? What did they know? What did they keep from the court? That's what my column is about today. There are so many questions. I interviewed all the people that are working in the IG probe, the Senate Judiciary probe around Attorney General Barr, and I tried to come up with the 10 seminal questions. And if we get them answered, I think we'll be able to ask ourselves and answer honestly.
Anything you've heard of my opening monologue that you disagree with that's coming, the cascade of information, the avalanche that I'm predicting?
I don't. I think it's going to be a very difficult time for the investigators, particularly those who led the FBI, who made Christopher Steele look more trustworthy than he was.
Greg Jarrett, the Russia hoax, the illicit scheme to clear Hillary Clinton and frame Donald Trump. And here we are. We're going right back to Hillary with Lindsey Graham today. I thought of you when I read that.
Well, the Russia hoax has now been exposed for all to see, and the witch hunt has ended. It'll end formally tomorrow. No collusion, no obstruction of justice. And then, Sean, the real